Hello and welcome to Tarrasque Me Anything, the only D&D podcast that's entirely generated by AI. My name's Will McAfee, sometimes known as the Arcade Wizard, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Ale. Ale, what are we talking about today?
We're going to be talking about, first off, AI could actually make us funny, so no, we're not AI. Secondly, we're going to be talking about the difference between characters designed for roleplay and min-max characters, which can make ridiculous roleplay.
Yes, that's right. The power player versus the powerfully dramatic player. So where did you want to start with this?
Well, I know that I personally have experience with a very badly built roleplay character. It was that first campaign that you ran with me in it.
I thought he was fine. You're referring to your Dragonborn?
Yeah, no, I did not spec him correctly for his class. It was more just all roleplay based.
Yeah,
and then I accidentally turned him into Indiana Jones.
I helped. I provided the whip to go with the bow, and I gave him a hat and a jacket. I put all the pieces there for you. It's not my fault.
Yeah, and I took them all.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not your fault. It was my fault.
Yes. But on the other hand, there's also this monstrosity we have been working on together.
Yes.
For the past couple weeks. And as of yesterday, I made it so much worse.
So tell me about it. I have a basic idea, because we have talked about it on the phone a little bit. But lead me down this path. The epitome of the essence of min-maxing a character.
Okay, so for this particular min-max, we thought, how could we design the fastest possible character, essentially making the Flash?
Right.
And what we came up with is, and this all came about because of looking at one D&D's epic feats that they put out that you can get at level 20, because one of them increases your speed by 30 feet. That's what started this whole thing.
Right.
So that led to, well, how fast can you make it, and how much can you physically move in one turn? And then that led to how many miles per hour is that? Which, again, it keeps getting worse.
I think in our preliminary examples of it, we got to ridiculous speeds. I know some of that information might not have been correct because we were going off the top of our heads, but in your recalculations, is it faster?
I have forgotten all calculations until now, so we can do some here.
Okay.
So
I'll pull a calculator up.
Yeah, so starting off, we want a tabaxi.
Right.
And to make it particularly fun, we're going with the Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse version instead of the Legacy version.
Okay, now we picked Tabaxi specifically for the racial trait feline agility, which would let you double your movement for a round, and then the next round, you can't use that again until you move 0. I'm guessing you're going with Mordenkainen because there's something slightly different?
I mean, there is. I don't know it off the top of my head, but there is another thing that Tabaxi have, which is just a feature they've got, and this might be the thing that's different, but their climbing speed is equal to their walking speed.
Jesus. Dear God.
Oh, yeah. And I've made it worse.
Oh, no.
Don't you worry.
Okay.
So yeah, starting off, you want that Tabaxi. I can look up and see what the exact difference is in a bit, but then you're going to want to make sure they're a monk, because that unarmored movement is just going to keep increasing over time.
Right.
And once you hit 3rd level, you want to choose the what is it? I'm trying to remember the exact name of the monastic tradition is the way of the Ascendant Dragon.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that one off the top of my head. What are we looking for in that monastic tradition?
Okay, so first things you get out of that is Draconic Disciple. It gives you a Draconic Presence, which can let you re-roll. Well, it lets you turn a... Oh. No, just, you can use a reaction to re-roll a failed Intimidation or Persuasion check.
Oh, that's nice.
Tongue of Dragons, you learn Draconic. Or another language of your choice, in case you already know it.
Mm-hmm.
And then something called Draconic Strike, which your unarmed strikes, you can change the damage to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison.
Oh, that's kind of nasty.
Yeah, and it doesn't say that it's just that for all attacks, meaning one attack could be one type, another attack could be another type, flurry of blows, you do 4 different elemental types.
Okay.
You can also, choose your breath weapon.
It gives you a breath weapon.
It gives you a breath weapon.
You're going to be a cat that breathes anything.
Yes. Breath of the Dragon. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of your attacks with an exhalation of draconic energy in either a 20-foot cone or a 30-foot line that is 5 feet wide. That gets bigger as it, levels up.
Okay.
And you can, again, switch between acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison.
That is pretty dope. I thought we were working on speed, though. Is there a reason you picked this over a different...
Yes. There are none that dump directly into speed. This one, though, does help a little bit with something else, which we'll get into here. Okay, so once you get to level 4, you want to take your first feat, which is going to be mobile.
Yes.
Which is going to add 10 more. It's going to add 10 more movement speed. So at this point, we're up to 50.
Right. So
50 feet.
30 plus 10 from being a monk at level 4 plus 10 from mobile.
Yes. So up to 50.
Which can be doubled with feline agility to 100.
Yes. Now, the optimal thing for this requires the use of at least 2 spellcasters. I have found a reason to have a second spellcaster.
I think we might have missed a step here. A step of the wind, in fact, where as a monk you can use your bonus action, or you can spend 1 key point to take the dash action as your bonus action, which, if I'm not mistaken, would also double with feline agility, right?
Yes, just it's all movement that you take in that turn is double.
At this point, we can spend 1 key point. We can move 50 as our regular movement. We can move 50 as an action, and we can move 50 as a bonus action. So that's 150.
Correct.
With feline agility, that would double that to 300 feet per second.
Yes, that is 300 feet at level 4.
Level 4. Okay. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so now, level 5, that movement goes up to... level 6. This is when things start getting a little crazy.
Well, just before we get crazy, 300... Okay, so it's in 6 seconds, right? So it's not actually 300 feet per second. It's
300 feet over 6 seconds.
Right, so it's 50 feet per second, right?
Yes.
But that is still an impressive 34 miles per hour.
Yeah, at level 4, you're going 34 miles per hour.
It's not quite Rock Lee levels yet, but it is faster than any person on the planet can run.
Yes. Now, level 6 is where we get to the reason why I chose the Ascendant Dragon.
Okay.
So, also,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Other thing about the mobile feat, going back to that for a second, if you use your action to make a dash, you are not affected by difficult terrain.
Oh, well, and also if you hit someone and then move away, they can't take an opportunity attack on you. That's usually why I take it. But we're just trying to gotta go fast this time.
As fast as possible.
Right.
Yeah, but at level 6, with the Way of the Ascendant Dragon, we get something called Wings Unfurled.
Are you telling me he can fly?
Yes. When you use your Step of the Wind, you unfurl spectral draconic wings from your back that vanish at the end of your turn. Jesus. When the wings exist, you have a flying speed equal to your walking speed.
Why? Why?
I told you I made it worse.
I'll say right here, better than a glider.
Yeah. No, this is way better than a glider.
Oh,
so
shit.
Yeah. Also, now at level 6, our speed goes up to 15 feet.
Yes. Okay.
So that goes up to 55. 55.
So 37.5 miles per hour. Because 55, that actually does the math for us, because that's 1/6 of the total. Because you can do 55 3 times and then double that. So 55 feet per second.
Now, just to save time, we could go through every unarmored movement upgrade. Safe to say, at level 18, it tops out at 30 feet added onto it, which gives you a grand total of, with your base movement speed, your monk speed, and mobile, that puts you at 70 feet in one round.
And that is equivalent to 47.72 miles per hour. Now, you mentioned earlier you would need 2 wizards, and I think I know where you're going.
Yes. Now, one of them, you need to be able to cast a level 1 spell on you.
And what spell is that?
A level 1 spell called Long Strider, which increases your movement by 10 feet.
Okay.
Putting it at 80 feet.
Let me just pull Long Strider up here.
And I believe it does that for a minute.
Duration 1 hour.
Oh, okay. So you just have 10 extra feet movement for an hour.
Right, and that's so per second. That's 80 feet per second. Which again, this is a 1/6 of the total movement in a round. So really, even though it's 80 feet per second, you're going 720 feet in a round. I just, anyone listening, you need to stop and wrap your mind around that. Some of the biggest ranges in D&D are 120 feet. The biggest one I can think of offhand is like Meteor Storm, right?
Probably.
Let's see. Hold on. That doesn't seem right. So
well,
I'm gonna Google it real quick.
While you're looking that up, there's the second spell that you need, which is Haste.
Yes, which is what I thought you were going to say first, but Long Strider is definitely a plus.
Now, Haste is what's going to make the math of this really weird. because instead of having an equal 6-part thing, it's now an 8-part thing.
Okay, well, and before we even get to that, we've already established 720 feet in one round. Some of the stuff I'm looking at here, people trying to extend their Eldritch Blast, right? So they'll say sorcerer with spell sniper and distant spell meta magic can get up to 480 feet. And then there's one you can dip Eldritch Lance, which will double to 600.
That can get up to about 1,200 feet.
Right, for a max of 1,200 feet. By bumping it up to 8, do we beat that?
Okay, so that would add an entire other movement. So that would boost us to a grand total of... So what's the original again? We've got now 80 for movement, 80 for action, 80 for haste action, 80 for the
Step of the Wind bonus action.
Yeah. Movement, action, second action. That's 160. This is 240. How'd you get to 720 before?
With my calculator here. That it might have saved something. Let's just review here. Your base speed is 30, right? Plus your monk speed, which at level 18 is an additional 30, so that's 60.
Yeah.
So 60,
that's 60.
Plus
mobile.
10 from mobile. Plus 10 from Longstrider. Am I missing anything here? So that's 80.
Oh, 60, 80. Right. No, and then we've got 4 actions of 80. That should put us at 240, which would put us at 480. You might have added in what we were talking about before, which is one D&D's level 20 epic boon, which is the epic boon of speed.
Okay, so it's 80 in one movement. And then you have your regular movement, you have your bonus action movement, you have your action as a movement, you have your haste movement. So 4 and then doubled by feline agility, so that is 8. Okay, so that's 640. Okay. My calculator let me down. I promise I haven't been drinking.
Well, it was 240 with all that, and then doubled would be 480. I still don't know how you got the other one.
Because if you take 80, right, there's 4 times
it by 4.
And then times that by 2, 640. 80 times 4 is 320.
Yep, my brain not working.
That's okay. That's both of us now. We're 3. Even.
Yes. Now, let's make it worse with that one D&D epic boon. So you're level 20 Psycho Dragon Monk.
Yes. So that'll boost you from 80 in your movement
to 110.
110. Let me get a miles per hour on that real quick.
Now, just remember, at 4 parts, that's 440 doubled to 880 feet per 6 seconds.
Well, okay, right. So, at 110, right? So,
yeah.
In a one round.
Again, it gets weird once you add haste.
The haste. So that's 880 in one round. And if we divide that by the 6 seconds, that's 146.66 repeating feet per second. Which comes out...
And how many miles per hour is that?
To a whopping 100 miles per hour.
Holy crap.
You could get a speeding ticket on the interstate.
Yeah, you could get a speeding ticket pretty much anywhere. And you do that faster than any car known to man. You go from 0 to 100 in 1 second.
Yeah, it's not a 0 to 60. It's a 0 to 100 in 6 seconds. Holy
At that
shit.
point, you are pretty much a D&D equivalent of the Flash.
Yes.
And that was with 1 feet. And yes, you can fly 880 feet
Do you have
in 6 seconds.
More feats you'd like to add to this?
Well, yeah, now that we've essentially made a horrific speed demon, of which we never looked at magic items. There might be magic items that make us even faster.
Yeah, let me... I think I have one.
If you do, let us know.
Yeah, hold on here.
Oh, you got one?
Hold on. No, that's not quite it. It increases your speed, but only to 30. So if you're already over it, it doesn't change anything. I was thinking about the boots of striding.
Oh yeah. So on a slightly unrelated note, just kind of loving this ascendant dragon monk. So you remember that breath weapon I told you about?
Yeah.
It goes from that to spending 1 key point to augment it to a 60-foot cone or a 90-foot line.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. You also get blind sight.
You also get... What? Why? Okay.
Because dragons have blind sight.
Fair enough. Well, I can't find any magic items in particular. And Googling it just takes me to Reddit.
We don't need to make things even worse.
Right.
If anyone uses this and makes this, at level 20, you've probably made magic items that made this worse.
Now, and I will say, even at max, we did not escape the range of a fully spec'd out spell sniper Eldritch Blast, but he's only going to be able to hit you.
You can
once.
outrun them.
Right. It's not like they're going to catch up, you know?
No. They can catch up maybe once, but that requires them portaling somewhere, spending their next turn to hit you because, again, you can do this 1 turn. You have to rest another turn and then run again.
Jeez, that's crazy. Well, and you don't have to. You just don't get feline agility back unless you spend a turn at 0 movement.
Right. So
you can still move half of that, right? So you can outrun them.
Oh yeah, no, it's insane.
Anyway, that is a very strong example of min-maxing. Probably not the first one your mind comes to. Usually when I think of it, I think of strength 20, intelligence 4, and you just play your game like that. But it is one of the things to do. And, you know, there's mixed feelings about it. It can be kind of fun. Like, I just had a lot of fun going through that. But as a DM, I would probably break that player character's legs. Just being completely serious.
Oh yeah, no. And let's be honest, there's still 4 other feats we could add to this if we decide never to upgrade the stats.
Yeah, that's true. What feats would help that though? I mean, my God.
What feats would make it worse? How about alert?
Alert, yeah, that's a good choice.
Because then you got +5 to your initiative. You can't be surprised while you're conscious, and things don't gain advantage on attack rolls against you as a result of you not seeing them.
Yeah. Okay, what about athlete? Specifically, well, you already have the climbing thing as a tabaxi, but let's see. No, never mind.
Yeah, there's...
I was thinking it would give you extra ability to jump. Well, and let's just think about that for a second, too, because don't the jumping rules have something to do with how much you move before? Or am I crazy?
I haven't looked at them.
Okay, I'm going to go through feats real quick, see if there's anything I might add. You look up jumping rules real quick.
Go into jumping rules. Where are they? I'm just going to look it up.
Yeah, that's the go-to. There's too many references to know where things are.
Well, whatever the rules are, there's something that now makes this worse.
Oh God, what?
Depending on what it is, I found the rules for it, but there's a magic item called Ring of Jumping, which lets you bonus action. Well, no, that doesn't help really. But if you get a third spellcaster to cast Jump on you, I will explain how that gets worse.
Yeah, I don't really see any other, like, great feats for this build. I mean, obviously, if you still want them to be a viable character, we were maxing out exactly how many feet you could go in a round, but you're probably not going to want to use your 4 marks, like the 4 things you can do just to move. You're probably going to want to hit people. You're probably going to want to do flurry of blows. So you would probably adapt your feats to stuff like that and still move a ridiculous amount at the same time.
Yeah.
What... Remind me of the spell jump.
Surprisingly, jumping does not in any way constitute movement speed. It takes up part of your movement, but your strength modifier entirely determines how far you can jump.
Cowards.
I mean, at this point, we'd basically be like the what?
Hey, we hit 100 miles
the
per
early
hour.
2000s version of the Hulk. We'd be doing desert leaps, going from one biome to another, just jumping at that point.
It's a great visual, yeah.
Then again, his jumping was also determined by his strength, which was broken as hell.
Is convince your DM to apply physics rules, right? And if he's a kind DM, he will let your punches have incredible force without breaking your hands. Because I don't know,
yes.
You're a monk.
If he is a not kind DM, you're going to have to roll an athletics check every time you move so you don't immediately die from G-force.
That's right. Yeah, so I'm going to move 880 feet away on my turn. How are you going to do that? Oh, all these things listed above. Okay. Your neck snaps. Roll a death save. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the other side of that coin. Role players. And just to say here, they're not diametrically opposed, right? A good role player can min-max, and a min-maxer can be a good role player. But they are often on opposite sides of the coin. So, do you want to get into that a little bit?
Well, the reason why they seem to be on opposite sides of the coin a lot is because sometimes it is pretty fun to roleplay characters with faults.
Yes. Well, and I'd also say oftentimes the min-maxer is very focused on a build, and when you're really focused on something like that, like everything we've just done for speed, you don't really care about the story at all. You want to get into combat, and you want to use what you've worked on, you know? So it's a different kind of mindset going into the game, whereas if you're more of a role player, in combat might not be as fun for you, you know?
Right. I actually, an uncle of mine played a session of D&D and managed to somehow turn the whole D&D session into one that had no combat. because he's very good at talking to people. He managed to talk down the DM in basically every situation. Very good role player.
That's pretty cool, actually, when you can use your actual powers of persuasion as a PC to do that. I like doing that as a wizard, stopping fights before they start. But that's
just called casting fireball at anyone you see.
No, it's called force wall, force cage.
They can't fight if they can't breathe.
That's right. They can't fight if they're stuck there. Command person's pretty good occasionally. Suggestion's great. But yeah.
Now, a really nasty spell to just ruin any melee combat fighter's day is one you told me about.
Oh, yeah, magic missile.
No, levitate.
Oh, yeah. So I will explain magic missile first. We had a guy that we played with in the same game Il was talking about here with his first character, and he had like 23 AC or something, and it was really frustrating because you can't hit him, and that's fine. He worked on being a tank, and
very, very much MC complex.
For sure. And well, he actually argued with me about it too, because I gave him a shield and I was like, okay, well, shield gives you +2. And I don't think he actually misunderstood me, but he said, okay, it's a +2 shield, and added 4 to his AC. And after an argument, we compromised to a +1 shield, and that's why his AC was so high, I think before you guys were even level 5. So to balance things a little bit for the rest of the party, and for my enjoyment purely, fucking magic missile, dude. It always hits. He's like, oh, I have an AC or whatever. Yeah, magic missile.
Yeah. It would have just been fun to see you pull the levitate out at him.
Levitate, though. This, especially levels 1 to 5, game changer. 1 to 3. Right? So there's 2 really, really good low-level spells like this. Levitate's one of them, and a lot of the time when you have a lower-level party, you're not fighting, a Sararak. You're not fighting, liches or beholders or anything. You're going to fight, a big, burly brawler dude or a couple of orcs, maybe a bugbear. Just lift their ass up, right?
Oh, yeah.
There is a save, right? So be wise about how you use that. But yeah, a lot of them are not going to be spellcasters. A lot of them will not have a ranged weapon on them. And you can just lift them up, and there's nothing they can do about it. And that's fantastic.
They're trapped. They're stuck.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do.
The other one I really like, especially at low levels, it definitely fades off, is sleep. Because when you cast sleep, you get a pool of 5d8, which I think the average is 23 or 25 off the top of my head. And this pool goes from the weakest to the strongest of people with remaining hit points, and just puts them to sleep. And goblins don't have that many hit points. I think goblins have 7 hit points on average, and you probably might have beat up a couple already.
I actually had to explain how it worked in the campaign I was in recently.
It is a little confusing how it's written, but
it is.
You can at level 1, right? I think sleep you can get at level 1. You can knock out 3 to 4 enemies just like that. It's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, it's nuts.
Let me just confirm this real quick. Yeah, it's a level 1 enchantment. You can get this at level 1, right? It is 5d8. Like I said, it averages 23 to 25. You can roll it at higher levels, adding 2d8 for each above level first. Probably not worth it, right? And let me double check. Yeah, starting with the creature that has the lowest hit points. So, if you're fighting one dude, at level 1, I guarantee he doesn't have more than 25 hit points. If you're fighting 3 guys, you can definitely knock out 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. It's just so broken and so amazing. And my favorite thing to do is just put people to sleep and then just continue on with my business.
Yeah. Fun thing, though, is that it is technically a type of charm.
And also note, it won't work on elves.
It will not work on elves. It will not work on 3 green. It will not work on Reborn either.
I didn't know that, but that is good to know.
Reborn can't be put to sleep because they're dead. Can't work on Warforged either.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could have pieced that one together.
Yeah. Also can't work on a swarm of bats.
Says who?
Says swarm of bats. They can't be charmed. And the spell says if they are immune to being charmed, the spell does not affect them.
Dang.
It is technically a charm spell.
Why is a swarm of bats immune to being charmed? Can we talk about that for a second?
A swarm of bats is immune to so much stuff.
Why?
It's a CR, what, 1/4? 1/2, maybe?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, it's like, it's immune to being charmed. It's immune to being frightened. It's immune to being grappled.
This is some curse Strahd bullshit.
It's a swarm of freaking bats.
Well, yeah, grappled makes sense. Frightened makes sense. But yeah, they can't be paralyzed, petrified, or stunned. Like, what?
I mean, those technically make sense.
I guess because there's a lot of them, right? Like, you might target one instead of the whole swarm.
Yeah.
But I disagree with Charmed. I think Sleep should work on Swarm of Bats, and I would rule in my game that it does.
Yeah, well, it didn't then. I kind of went a little rules lawyery.
Oh, in that game you were talking about?
Oh, yeah.
You weren't DMing that one, though, right?
No.
Yeah, so
no,
ultimately you don't have the final say, but...
I do not.
Yeah. Swarm of Bats, man. I'll remember that.
Yeah, Swarm of Bats.
Swarm of Bats.
But I remembered going back to another min-max, another fun one we've talked about before, and I didn't realize it was a min-max before.
What's that?
It's the Bugbear Barbarian.
Oh, yes. No, how did you not know that was a min-max? I thought that was the whole reason you were telling it to me.
No, I just thought it would be fun to lift as much weight as physically possible in that game.
Yes, min-maxing, correct.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go through it. Let's talk about the Bugbear Barbarian.
Bugbear Barbarian.
Bugbear Barbarian.
Yes. Which there is also a different min-max of a Barbarian, which you can do with 2 different species, and it's a different sort of shorter type of min-max thing.
What maximum strength did you get to?
Max strength I got to before I declared it to be stupid was 29.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of in the stupid range. I would expect with
because there's a way to get 230.
Mm-hmm.
But you only have one hand available.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that one is you need a belt of giant strength, any of them. You need the gauntlets of ogre strength, Thor's and then
hammer.
Yes, Thor's hammer. You only have 30 strength as long as you are holding that hammer, so you never have a hand free.
Yeah. But you have a hand with a hammer in it.
Yes.
So, yeah, but anyone could do that, though. You don't have to be a Bugbear Barbarian.
No, the Bugbear Barbarian.
Really specific magic items.
Yes, the Bugbear Barbarian. got to get back up to my characters because I have tried building this because I'm insane.
Are you low-key a min-maxer? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I just have 14 characters because I can't stop making things.
Yeah, you have what I would call an obsession, just a little bit.
Yes.
Some people have an actual problem though, and like min-maxing isn't a huge issue in most games, I would say, but some problematic signs to recognize when your players are literally fighting and arguing with you to make their build work, when they take things that don't make sense for their character just for their build to work, and if stuff like that is happening, you know, the big answer to that is like talk to your player, because at the end of the day, I know I've said this before, but you want everyone at the table to have a fun experience doing what they're doing, and if everyone's cool with that, yeah, that's fine, whatever. But if they're like hurting morale, if they're being a dick, kick them the fuck out. And like, I know they're probably your friend, right? But your friend's an asshole. Kick them the fuck out.
Yes. All right. So
anyway, that's my PSA. That's my disclaimer. Tell me about this Bugbear Barbarian.
Okay. So the reason I chose Bugbear off of the, again, Mordenkainen's Tome of the Monsters of the Multiverse.
You didn't do it for alliteration?
It updated a lot of stuff, made a lot of things a little easier to play.
Okay.
You get something called Powerful Build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift.
Okay. That's pretty handy. Especially if you get enlarged.
Yes. That is another part of it. Again, for the Bugbear Barbarian, you need the help of a spellcaster. Again.
Spellcasters, man.
They're good support for making really dumb shit.
Spells, man. It's crazy.
All right.
Oh,
so,
by the way, I was talking to you earlier about like other topics we could do. That one I forgot. Murder hobos.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do that next episode, but maybe. Yeah, next episode.
Probably.
Hobos. That's a great subject.
Probably. Yes. Now the whole reason I said the Barbarian is for the level 6 aspect of the Totem Warrior for a Barbarian.
Right.
Again, choosing the Path of the Bear, your carrying capacity, including max load and max lift, is doubled.
That's nuts.
Yes. And you have advantage on strength checks made to push, pull, lift, or break things.
Well, you could just also rage, right? You're a barbarian.
Yes, you're a barbarian. But this is just, you now naturally are able to... So, gotta alter this just so I can see what's going on. I was building this as a backup. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking for stuff to try and make this make sense so I can see the math in this.
You're good. I mean, I can already imagine it. Because with the doubled carrying capacity and the advantage on strength check, and the fact that you're a barbarian and you just add bonuses to your strength. Well, no, it doesn't actually add to strength, but still, I can see it'll get stupid.
Oh yeah, absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Got it. And why aren't you working? I don't know.
That's That's how it goes sometimes.
That's why. Okay, so assuming that you've got a belt of storm giant strength to put you at a strength of 29.
Right.
You're a bugbear. You're a barbarian.
Right.
And you've been enlarged.
Yes.
So with bugbears, whatever size you are, you count as the next size for carrying.
Right. So if you're medium, then you're large. Now it's
large,
humongous, gigantic. What's the term?
Gigant. I don't know the size things. But
I do know this. I can't think of it. Small, medium, large, gigantic.
Technically, it's tiny, small, medium, large, and then
huge and gargantuan.
Yes.
I would have got there eventually.
All right. So the way that it works with size and strength is each category size above medium, it doubles the carrying capacity.
Jesus.
And the amount that you can push, drag, or lift.
Does that stack with the totem? So does it?
Yes.
So it doubles, then doubles, then doubles?
All right, so without being enlarged, and I'm not exactly sure how this math works out, with a strength of 29 and the bear totem, or oh no, I haven't even selected that. Right, I have to go back into the builder and select that totem, bear, totem, bear.
And just to be clear, your carrying capacity is your strength score multiplied by 15. So at 29, your carrying capacity would already be...
Got it.
Stupid 435
so
pounds,
just to say, if you were somehow to get a belt of storm giant strength at level 6,
good luck,
which would be absolutely insane.
The DM is kind.
DM is very kind,
or stupid,
but also is making you a pack horse, because with that aspect of the bear at level 6, a strength of 29, your carrying capacity is 1,740 pounds.
Damn.
And your push, drag, or lift is 3,480 pounds. Could you tell me exactly how much a metric ton is?
A metric ton? 1,000
kilos? Or just a ton?
2,000 pounds.
Yes.
So it's more than a ton.
Yes.
Jesus.
And that is without being enlarged.
Yeah, and I will say, levitate maxes out at 500 pounds. So just lifting is twice that, and then push and pull is 6 times that.
Yep.
Before being enlarged.
So, yeah, if there's no way to enact enlarged on here, which is, or if there is, I don't know how to do it.
Well, either way, it's going to be doubled, so that's crazy.
Yeah. So, what is that doubled? That is... Let me pull out my calculator, because I can do math, but not that much. Okay, so the carrying capacity becomes the push, drag, or lift capacity. Enlarged, for a minute, you can carry almost 2 tons. Or, like, yeah. You can carry a lot. Your push, drag, and lift at that point becomes 6,960. So that is almost 3.5 tons.
Let me paint a scene for you. You're traveling along the highway with your companions. You've hired a coach. They're handling the horses, and you're going along a cobblestone path that is paved and will turn into dirt soon. You're moving from one city to the next, and off on the horizon, something catches your eye. Something that at first doesn't seem too weird, but when you realize that there's no water out there, the ship barreling towards you at 30 feet per second seems a bit strange. A cloud of dust behind it almost obscures the mountain-shaped bugbear behemoth pulling a giant ship behind him like he's just a fucking ox, right? Like ropes over each of his shoulders, just going on land, like.
Oh yeah, no, it's nuts.
Oh, that's crazy, dude. That's a fucking lot.
Then again, I don't know how much ships weigh, because again, that's only almost 3.5 tons.
Wow.
And things are a lot heavier than they seem.
That's true. But I imagine if it's a small ship, you could probably do it.
Yeah.
They can probably make that work.
That's also something that makes me wish there was something you could do with the spell, like enlarge, to where you don't have to stop at the next size. Because my god, do I sometimes just want to make a creature that can wrestle a titan, like an astral dreadnought.
No, you can't do that.
Because that seems really funny to me.
Things get kind of funky when you make things too big, right? Like, real space doesn't scale that way. That's why, you know, they say pound for pound, spider web is stronger than steel, but you can break that shit with your hands. Like it.
Yes.
That's why in Attack on Titan they had to explain like, oh, the Titans are like super lightweight because they're like mostly made of air or sunlight or some bullshit. You know, like I don't know about that.
But also, Jet Jaguar Kaiju battle seems awesome for D&D.
You know, you're right though. You are right though. Final boss.
I'm not gonna lie, just somehow managing to find an enlarged spell that makes me into titanic proportions and punching a sun dragon in the face sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah. And then the other really short sort of, I guess, min-max with the Barbarian is choosing either a Gith, not the weird hippo GIF or GIF people, but the Gith Yankee, Gith Zerai Gith people. Or choosing an Emerald Dragonborn and making them a Barbarian. You are resistant to all damage when raging. All of it.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of nuts.
Yeah. Unless there's a feat that you can get that makes you resistant to psychic damage.
I don't think so. I can't think off the top of my head. I know there's a feat that gives you like telekinesis, but I don't think it
telekinesis and telepathy, but it doesn't make you resistant to
right. Yeah.
Psychic damage. So yeah, those two at level 3. There you go. That's the whole point of having chosen that entire barbarian.
Did you say at level
you can
3?
multi-class into other things now. You're just resistant to everything.
Did you say level 3?
Yeah, at level 3, you are resistant to all damage everywhere, forever.
Jesus, do not ever show up to my table with that build.
I've thought about it a few times.
Just gonna levitate you and just leave you there.
Yeah.
The party's gonna walk off into the sunset and they'll be like, hey, you remember that guy?
Now, how high does levitate someone?
I don't think there's a limit. I think it initially does. I know you can move it up and down by 20 feet per round as a bonus action, but I don't think there's an actual limit.
Okay, then, as a fighter, if you're going up or think you might encounter something to do with levitate, have a freaking grappling hook.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then you're just low-calorie Spider-Man. You're sort of stuck in a levitate state. You're propelling yourself with a grappling hook.
Yeah, well, I did that as a wizard because, you know, fly is like, you gotta wait till like 3rd level or 5th level or something before you can fly, but level 1 you can...
Or you can just be level 6 level 6 dragon monk.
yeah, I guess. But yeah, levitate's a second level spell, so pretty early you can just float a little bit and then just pull yourself along with a grappling hook. And you don't have to be good with a grappling hook. You're a wizard. You got a mage hand. You know, you just put that shit wherever you want it.
Yeah. Still, I find it funny that, like, a dragon cat monk is better at flying than a wizard.
Certainly faster. Well, you know, I guess that makes sense. Cats are always, you know, up in high places. They're pretty agile, you know.
No, this is just a cat that took its superiority complex to the extreme.
A wizard's just some dude that reads books. I mean, no, it makes sense.
And what do cats do to people that read books? Usually knock their books off the shelf.
That's right. All right. Well,
cats are bullies and we love them.
I think we've pretty thoroughly covered min-maxing. We might revisit it later. We didn't really talk too much about role players, but I think that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to sort of, at least for me personally, to differentiate between roleplay and min-max, because I try to do both.
Well, and I think
there's a reason I make a character, and I want to make them as good for that reason as possible.
Right. Well, I think you should strive to be able to do both. But like you said before, sometimes it's good to have a flaw, especially if you're kind of a weak role player in the first place. It might help you kind of establish some things. It might give you something to return to, that kind of thing. On the other side of that coin, though, just because you have a flaw does not mean you are an interesting character. So, you know, there's that. But I think we're coming up on about an hour now, so that's probably a good place to stop it. Do you have any final words?
I realized about halfway through I forgot to talk about the displacer bees again. There's just gonna be an episode of my stupid, insane weirdness creations at a later time.
You're gonna have to do it at the top of an episode if you want to get it in, or we can dedicate an episode to your strange and mysterious beasts and where they might be located.
Yes, and they shall all be handled by our together made NPC that controls all weirdness of magical beast, Nicholas the Cageman.
The Cageman, correct. I would like to take a moment to thank Angela. She is the very first comment that we had on our YouTube video, and she clarifies that oobleck is a mixture of cornstarch and water. You can punch it and it would be like hitting a wall, but if you tip its container, it pours out like a liquid. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure I saw that on Mythbusters, but I had no idea what you were talking about when you said that.
Non-Newtonian fluid. That's what it do.
Yeah. So cool. So thank you for that. If this gets to
Andy.
new ears, feel free to drop a comment. You can find the podcast on Twitter at Tarrasque MA. You can find me on Twitter at The Arcade Wizard. Do you want to plug anything? I don't know. We're pretty.
We've also got this on Anchor. We've got it on. Do we have this on Spotify?
It should be. Anchor is Spotify. So we have it on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts as well, and Amazon.
Right. Well,
I think.
Yeah, I do not believe we are going to ever get to the number one spot. But if we're even in a situation where we could do that, I would say don't do that. Markiplier's doing a thing.
Yeah, we'll have to make OnlyFans like Mark, and I don't think anyone wants
to. No, that is a horrible idea, and nobody will benefit from this.
That's correct. So, anyway, I think we're going to leave that at that, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right, see you then, Will.